Good morning. I'm Elaine Chapnick, president of the Larchmont Mamaroneck Local Summit, welcoming you to our first meeting of the 2021-22 season. With fires out west, floods here, COVID variants seemingly everywhere, and particularly filling hospitals in the South, it seems like we're in the midst of an apocalypse. Yet today we're going to step back from all that and hear about the state of our local economy from the Chambers of Commerce. To do this, I'm going to turn today's program over to our program chairman, Peggy Jackson. Peggy.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Richard Limegruber. Thank you, Nancy White, for joining us. We know that it's been a particularly difficult 2 weeks, but hopefully this will help get more messages out to the community of the Chambers, what they do and how they help. So thank you for joining us. I'm going to give everyone a quick bio. Sorry, I'm going to read them because I haven't memorized them on each of our two panelists, and then we'll turn it over first to Nancy, and then we'll move on to Richard, and then afterwards there will be a Q&A session. If you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand, and one by one we'll recognize you and you can ask your questions. So here we go. Richard Limegruber. For over 20 years, Richard Limegruber, a Mamaroneck local, has been an industry expert as a financial advisor. He is the founder and owner of Avenue Financial Group, a practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, LLC, where he is passionate about helping families, individuals, and small businesses plan for their financial future. His love for this community extends outside of the chamber. He also volunteers his time as the treasurer of the Mamaroneck Avenue School PTA and was the former chairperson of the nonprofit Women's Empowerment Institute. Whenever Rich is not wearing multiple hats, you can find him enjoying building Lego with his 8-year-old son or watching murder mystery shows with his wife. Tell us about that.
That's a pretty good roundup, right?
Sounds great. Nancy White is a graduate of the prestigious New York Botanical Garden Floral Design Program, was raised in Larchmont. Her husband and business partner, John Feldmos, is a decades-long resident as well. After studying studio art at Sweetbriar College, Nancy pursued the arts and advertising in New York City. Her career took her from Sotheby's and Modern Brides magazine to the creation of the award-winning magazine Show House, and since 2011, to the fulfillment of her lifelong dream to be a local business owner bringing service, color, and joy to the community. Nancy currently serves as the president of the Larchmont Chamber of Commerce, and her husband, John, is the president of the Humane Society of Westchester. She's also president of her Sweetbriar class. A lifelong member of the Larchmont Yacht Club, Nancy and her husband are passionate sailors as well, logging many spring, summer, and fall off hours on the Long Island Sound, racing and cruising sailboats. Both of you, thank you and welcome. Nancy, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Thank you all for inviting us here. One of the things that's been so remarkable about our community is the incredible support that we've gotten from the local residents and businesses helping each other. It's just been amazing. I don't think we would have gotten through the last 18 months without that support. Overall, the business community in Larchmont is sound, but with still struggling, although obviously not on any degree like what's going on in Mamaroneck. The pandemic hit most of the businesses very, very hard, where they had to shut down. A lot of the businesses were able to pivot and go much more to online sales and doing pickup. We created a delivery service using some the local taxi company so that we would be able to offer delivery to customers. This was, not just for Flower Bar, although I was basically using him too, because I didn't have any employees. And that for me was the big challenge. I wasn't allowed to have anybody work with me. But now things are, have sort of gotten into a new normal. We didn't lose very many businesses, and net, we actually are up in terms of businesses. Some of the new businesses that opened have thrived. Billy and Pete's, they said that their numbers are 3 times beyond projections that they had when they started the business. And now they've purchased another business and space, and they'll be opening a new restaurant. Encore, I think, has done very well. They're also expanding. But then other businesses haven't done so well, just I think because of the physical geography of their business, like Vintage 1891 doesn't really have a good outdoor dining situation. It's kind of like back there with the trash. So So I mean, she's still really struggling, and I know that her employees were really struggling, and she was literally going to food banks and picking up food for them, and trying to keep it going. And I think she's nowhere near bounced back. But I think, again, I know for my husband and myself, we made a point of at least twice a week ordering takeout and being very generous with the tips. And I think a lot of people did that, and sticking to our Larchmont Mamaroneck restaurants. The chamber was able to also pivot very quickly. We actually launched a new website, which had a lot more information about the businesses, so that there was a better resource for local businesses to find information. We have a very robust social media presence, which has been extremely helpful for businesses promoting themselves. And we cut our dues from $120 to $60. Initially, for the pandemic, we just made everybody an honorary member so that everybody could take advantage of whatever we could offer. And then in the fall, when we start our new membership year, we asked for just $60 just to cover some of our basic expenses. We really greatly expanded holiday this last year, and we were so fortunate, again, because we raised, I don't know, $15,000 from sponsors. We couldn't find enough to do with the money. And it was really great, in terms of getting people downtown and really showing that Larchmont is still vibrant and alive. And we attracted people from all over the community. We did an Arts on the Avenues event, which was also hugely successful. We put local artists' artwork. We worked with MAG and other artists' businesses. And we had local artists displaying their work in the windows of the participating businesses. And then we had like an open house, and we had tours, and the artists could sell their art. The host stores would get a little cut of the proceeds. And it was just a really fun way to bring people into the downtown. We have an annual sidewalk sale. We've done that for the last 2 years. Of course, it was more challenging the first year, but again, it's outside. So we were able to accommodate that pretty successfully. And we bring in a lot of outside businesses to that. And it's also an opportunity for the home-based businesses to be able to, have put a face in the community. And then we're coming into a holiday again. So we've been very fortunate, but again, I think that all of the businesses, I just did a quick little survey, and I know it's something I'm struggling with. I'm fortunate, I am fully staffed, but a lot of people are having a really hard time finding people. There's a lot of reasons why that's all been discussed at, infinitum in the media. The other thing that's been really a problem, believe it or not, is the supply chain. I have a wedding in 2 weeks. I ordered the containers for them in June. I was told I would have them, and now I'd be lucky if I got them maybe at the end of the year, which obviously isn't going to do me any good. So it's really scrambling. I literally just found out yesterday I was a little too late ordering my containers for holiday, and I'm going to be a little short. Hopefully we'll be okay. And I know that that's happening with all of the other businesses are having the same problem. What I'm hearing in my industry, and I'm sure it's true everywhere else, is that the shipping costs have increased enormously. And basically my shipping costs for all of my, glass and things like that are up 25%. And that is true for my other businesses, like Mancino and Village Mercantile and the other businesses that sell products, because there's such a demand for the shipping containers that if you can get one, you're having to pay like twice what you normally would pay for it. And then just to even get it here and get it unloaded and get it trucked it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And I will tell you right now, if you want a white rose, be prepared to spend a lot of money if I can even find one. It's absolutely crazy. But despite that, I think, again, we are so fortunate to have such a supportive community, and so grateful that we haven't lost too many businesses, and that, everyone, some of the people said that their June sales were the best ever. So, I do think that things are starting to come back a little bit. I worry, of course, about the winter because we still aren't out of this, and I don't know what's going to happen. I know that, a lot of people are still hesitating eating indoors, even if you are vaccinated. So, I mean, I think that's just, that's just something we all have to figure out how we're going to deal with that and help the businesses get through this, because I think we're in for another year at least of having these challenges. That's really all I have to say.
Thank you. Richard?
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me, and thank you for letting me be a part of this conversation today. So Mamaroneck has obviously been through, just like Larchmont has been through so much over the last year and a half, and more recently, the last 2 weeks. I'll start out by saying I joined the Chamber of Commerce about 4 years ago. And one of the things that I noticed as somebody who's used to running a business, and I was a volunteer in the fire department about 10 years ago as well, and I'm used to like how meetings run. And I noticed that there was no really way of no formality of the meetings that were taking place. And I noticed that a lot of people started getting frustrated, including myself, because it was more of just like, does anybody have anything else to say? So when they asked me to become part of the executive board, I became a vice president, and then I became the president this year. One of the things that I tried to do was bring business meetings back to the chamber and make it organized and have an organized approach so that people know what to expect when they come to our meetings. And that is going through, the business of the chamber. What events are happening? What are we doing for our members? Just like you guys, we are all volunteers. We have 11 board members who run very successful businesses here in Mamaroneck, as well as have families. And, it takes a lot of time out of somebody's life to do something for the businesses here in Mamaroneck. And I always try to reason with, people coming and, we're a sounding board more than anything for businesses who get frustrated, whether it's with the government or whether it's with, what's happening with permits and trying to get signs on their doors and so forth. And what I say is, you could always bring the horse to the water, but you can't make the horse drink it. And one of the things that I find as the president is that there's a lot of people who like to complain, but when you offer them the help to get what they need, it kind of falls short there, and they expect everybody to jump over hoops for their own businesses. So we have 138 businesses in our chamber this year, which is a definite increase. And I feel that has a lot to do with the fact that we were going through COVID. My whole goal as the president was to really have a presence in Mamaroneck. Unless you were already in the Chamber of Commerce, you didn't even know that we were in existence. We kind of got silent. We kind of didn't show up really. We had a couple of events that we were doing every year. The Taste of Mamaroneck, which was very successful in the beginning, but kind of to, wane off towards, later on. We had a wonderful Halloween spectacular. And because of COVID, those obviously got canceled last year. And they haven't been brought back yet because of the risk of, contracting COVID. So what we tried to do was reinvent the wheel with the chamber. We're instituting networking meetings that we're going to ask local restaurants to help participate in and sponsor, where we can invite anybody we want. If you're a chamber member, you don't pay. If you're a guest, you pay a $10 fee. And you pay for drinks in the restaurant, and basically the restaurant provides some knickknacks for you to eat. So that's their participation. And now you have a bunch of people coming to your restaurant and finding out how great your food is. Another thing that we did is something called Mamaroneck Deals. This is an exciting program that we've been doing now probably for 6 months, where somebody signs up for free text messages. And we currently have 13 businesses that provide different specials on a weekly basis. And it's a direct text message right to your phone once a week on a Tuesday morning. And it really brings business to the companies or to the businesses that are actually, participating. We started out with just a $30 per month. And since the pandemic, we've actually haven't recharged the people that were participating, and we're taking care of it from the chamber. So I think really the challenges that we're experiencing are just like Nancy was stating, the restaurants got hit the hardest because of the fact that nobody wanted to eat indoors. In addition to that, because the government didn't really know what was happening, one of the things that typically took place is we had, just like Larchmont, we had sidewalk cafe permits. And the village of Mamaroneck decided to postpone issuing them last summer in 2020, where normally we would start in March, and they didn't actually allow us to, the restaurants, to be able to put out dining outside until June. While that was happening, we saw villages like Larchmont, like Rye, like Greenwich, putting additional seating in parking spaces. And the village of Mamaroneck and the Chamber of Commerce basically worked together in conjunction, because I have a very good relationship with our village manager and our mayor. And we became really an advocate for those businesses and those restaurants. And I say advocate because that's what the Chamber of Commerce should be. It should be an advocate for all the merchants in the village. So that was one of the biggest messages that I tried to provide all the businesses, that you want to be part of the chamber, because we're the only one who's advocating for you as a business. So they wound up going out the village and buying those concrete barriers, as well as, basically putting them down for the restaurants and not charging anything. So the first year was absolutely free. We had them up until November. They got taken away because they were fearful of snow. Fast forward to this year. This year, they came back and said, yes, we're going to offer to the restaurants again, but we can't put as many out. So it's first come, first served basis. And then the village said that they were going to actually charge $10,000 for 4 parking spots. And this is where the Chamber of Commerce again had to advocate for these restaurants. And I was on many, many calls, many conversations. I was on the public meetings for the Board of Trustees. And I was basically begging and pleading with them that if you've never owned a restaurant, which none of our trustees have ever had, you don't realize how many tables you need to flip to come up with $10,000 before even becoming profitable. So after a lot of going back and forth, they actually were able to come back and offer a reduced fee of $2,000 per parking spot, per 4 spots. And we wound up having a really, really good summer, just like what happened in Larchmont. So again, I think the Chamber of Commerce is more to help advocate for merchants. Fast forward 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we experienced the worst flooding that we've ever had. It was not 100-year flood. It wasn't, it was the worst that Mamaroneck has ever experienced. We had 8 feet of water that filled up across the Mamaroneck Avenue, which started around the train station in Modern on Rails and went all the way to Interstate 95. We lost a firehouse. We lost police cars. The dip and wash, car wash, literally the water was to the roof line. People were getting rescued from the fire department. We had 350 residents flood and had red tags put on their houses that they can still go back to. So one of the things that we also do with the chamber is we try to align ourselves with other other nonprofits like the Lions Club, like the Community Resource Center, and like the Fuller House, which has done a phenomenal job here in Mamaroneck, whether you're a business or a resident. And we've been donating to those non-for-profits who we know can actually do something better than what we could do with the money. And it's been nothing but a miracle of what the Fuller House and the CRC has been able to do to help our businesses, to help our residents. And so I think it's really important to understand that the Chamber of Commerce needs to work with everybody. They can't just work with the businesses. We have to work with anybody that can help us. And all hands are basically on deck right now. That being said, we believe in a robust website. It's an active website. We're constantly updating it. I want to thank my beautiful wife who actually sits down next to me every night and we We add resources to our chamber website with FEMA information, with information about local businesses that are willing to offer some sort of a special or a discount or even free services to help out their fellow business people here in Mamaroneck. So we've been promoting that on Facebook to go, if you're a business owner and you need help, go to our Facebook page, go to our website, check out what we have. This is where we're organizing all this information. And in addition, if you're a business that can help, please send us an email. Please fill out this form and let us know how you can help. And we will put your business and your offer on our website. And that's something that we've done consistently over the last 2 weeks. The other thing that we did to help out our business is we started a GoFundMe page. And that GoFundMe page can also be found on our Chamber of Commerce website. So one of the things that we did is we just basically asked for people to help the businesses. You've all seen the media. Everybody's talking about the residents, and God bless them. Everybody should know about what's happened to the residents, but nobody's talking about the businesses and the uphill climb they now have. At the current moment, they're still cleaning out. Rebuilding is still an afterthought. And, if you're a business and did not have flood insurance, you are able to borrow up to $20 million at a 2.5% interest rate. But the word is borrow. It's a loan from FEMA. And it's based upon your credit. So if you're a small business owner and you were struggling due to the pandemic and you don't have a great credit, you're not going to get that 2.5% interest rate. You're going to get a very high interest rate, and you're going to have to pay it back. So we're trying to really, plead to the community, plead to other businesses to help out, because if if you were on the other foot and you were the ones who were damaged and flooded, you would ask other people for help as well. So that's really where the chamber has tried to help. And I'm happy to say, with everybody's wonderful donations, we've been able to gather just under $27,000 of donations. And so now it's the time to start, helping these businesses. So we are helping any business, whether you're a chamber member or not, but we had to have some rules around, how you would be able to have some of these donations delivered to you. Number one, you have to be in the village of Mamaroneck. Number two, you had to have been in business before September 1st. You couldn't have just opened up and now asked for assistance. Number three, you had to be in one of the flood zones that got severely damaged. And number four, you basically had to have a lot of substantial damage. It couldn't just be, my flood had my basement had an inch of water in it. You had to have, physical damage that you need some help. So we now have an online on our website, a form to fill out, basically going through that information. And we're going to start, passing out those funds based upon certain criteria. So, I think it's important to understand that the Chamber of Commerce, although you might not know there's one in your town or in your village, but most likely there is. And these are the people that really try to help businesses not only market themselves, get more people in the door, but also really advocate when the village or when the government's not being so nice to you and giving you a hard time. We had an example of one of the brand new businesses that just opened up next to Sal's Pizza. It's called Buccaria. And because he opened up during the pandemic, the board, the building, people who issue the permits said he can only open up till 10 p.m. And because it's hard to get somebody up after eating dinner, he started getting all these citations. And after so many citations, they basically pulled his Sidewalk Cafe permit and took his tables away. And as the Chamber of Commerce, we went head on with the village government and said, this is not right. You need to do something about this. He just opened up. He just put his life savings into this place. And reluctantly, the village gave him his Sidewalk Cafe permits back. And I'm happy to say that when you walk down the village, his tables are packed outside. As well as all the other businesses. So, we're struggling. There are a lot of businesses that are still, the flats got devastated. So a lot of the car places, that have down flats off of Fenimore Avenue were just devastated as well. But I think ultimately we'll get through this. We've been through this before, and it's just it's heartbreaking to see people's life savings go away in a matter of hours overnight and come back to see all the devastation. So lastly, I just want to say, the reason why I think we had such success with the Chamber of Commerce is that we're trying to provide value to our businesses. We brought in a social media manager to help us with social media. We have the robust website. We're doing fundraising and awareness. I don't know if anybody's seen the shirts or the mugs that say Mamaroneck. Some people like them, some people don't like them, but we did that because, we thought it was fun. We thought, what does everybody have in common here in Mamaroneck, whether you work or you live here? And that is trying to help people say the word Mamaroneck. And if you saw Chuck Schumer on one of the things in front of the firehouse, he destroyed Mamaroneck several times within a matter of minutes. And I was sitting there watching him. I'm going, that's why you need the shirt, because you have to learn how to say Mamaroneck. So in a way, there were so many people who embraced it, who loved it, who bought them. And then there were some people who kind of was like, how dare you insult the name Mamaroneck? And we were just trying to explain that, obviously it was all in good fun. It was all to bring people together and say, yeah, everybody here is always trying to explain to people how you say the word Mamaroneck. So, and I think any news is, any talk about it is good. It's like, good, any press is good press, I guess you could say. And that helped us sell a lot of shirts and bring in some fundraising to the chamber as well. And that being said, I think doing ribbon cuttings for small businesses, re-grand openings, these are all important things to, bring attention to the businesses that we have here, and hopefully they succeed and continue to do well. So that's what I had prepared for you. I hope that was okay. If there's any questions, I can, let you know.
Nancy, look like you.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, because I had lost my prepared remarks, that Mayor Walsh has been an amazing partner. She was, I think, the first one to think of the Jersey barriers, and we were the first ones to have them out. And that was she's been an amazing partner with all of this. And just as Richard was saying, I mean, he had the challenge of revitalizing a chamber. I had the good fortune to have a chamber that was already fairly functional. But we do have, we have meetings every month. We alternate between mornings and evenings. We used to do it on Tuesdays, but because people wanted to go to the summit, we had to move it to Wednesdays. And so that's been, and we had, during the pandemic, we had George Latimer at every meeting. He still is coming to every meeting. We did everything through Zoom. We're still not going to do, I think, live meetings. We were going to hope to do half of them, but we're not sure we're going to be able to do that this year. And we have about 263 members, which is, we're one of the biggest chambers in Westchester County. And then the last thing I just wanted to, it's been amazing. The last thing I just wanted to say was, I had a question for you, Richard. Who manages your text, your deals text campaign?
Yeah, it's actually
software for that.
No, it's actually a company called Connection Text. I can send you the information.
That'd be great.
They actually gave us a deal where they discounted. So normally, if you were a business and you wanted to send weekly text messages to your consumers, let's just say 25 North, they're a very good restaurant. They have a lot of customers who are very dedicated to them. There would normally be a $400 setup fee, and they would charge them $400 a month to send out text messages. They waive that fee for all of the chamber, and they actually charge us half of that on a monthly basis. But the difference between going to individual restaurants is that what we had said, and why it's been so successful, is that if 25 North joined and they were sending out text messages, and then Enzo's joined and they were sending out, well, 25 North now gets the access to Enzo's customers, and Enzo's customers gets 25 North customers, because it's an entire list of deals, over 13 different deals that we have right now. So, and it also gives us the ability to say, hey, right now, businesses in Mamaroneck are struggling. Please, remember to look at our GoFundMe page. So we, as the chamber, can actually add in messages into those text messages. And I think the last time we checked, we had 163 subscribers.
That's great.
So that means 163 people every single week are getting our text messages.
Right.
Whether they read them or not, I'm not sure. But we have asked the restaurants and the businesses that are participating, and they're all getting business from it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
But
So
do you have a volunteer managing that, or did you have to hire someone to manage that?
no, so it's a
How
company
are the
called,
texts? The restaurants just, or the chamber members just submit it themselves, or?
yep, the chamber member emails Oscar, one of our board members. If anybody knows Oscar, he's really good. He's the one who brought it to us, and then Oscar sends it off to the guys before Monday every week.
Okay,
And
great.
they update it and send it out.
Okay, and then one last thing. I don't know if you got it yet, but I know that we made a donation to your GoFundMe page.
Thank you.
But I would like our chamber did. We want to support you guys, and I think we'd love to continue to support you in this tough time. How much money do you guys really need to help these businesses who didn't have flood insurance? I mean,
Right,
overall,
so-
because I think that we could help you raise that money.
To be honest, we put out an email, we sent out emails, we have it on our Facebook page. We're asking people if they want a donation to please let us know. And so far, within the first 12 hours, we had 12 businesses say yes. So we don't know how much we actually will need, but our goal was raising $100,000, because
Right.
if we can give everybody $1,000, $2,000, I think that would, we didn't want to walk over to somebody after they just lost everything and say, hey, here's a check for $50. What's the sense of that? It's like a spit to the face. So we wanted to make it substantial. And that's why we said, we've had businesses who actually came to us and said, you know what, we'll be okay. We don't need this money. Thank you. Give it to somebody else who needs it. And that's kind of what we're looking for. If you're a business and you're doing okay, and yeah, you might have had some water in your basement, but you're going to be okay, then they shouldn't have that money, So in all honesty, I mean, we had hundreds of businesses. So if we gave everybody $1,000, I mean, we'd probably need over $100,000.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So
Thanks.
that's why our goal was to,
I'm sorry to dominate. I just,
no, that's okay.
I want to help. We want to help you guys as much as we
Thank
can.
you.
So
Yeah, we
you're
appreciate
our
that.
brothers.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll do the same for you, obviously.
Okay. Anyway, sorry about that.
No, that's great. I think, isn't it great that the summit can bring the two of you together?
Yeah.
To help other people. So that's fantastic. Are there any questions from our viewers? Anybody have any questions they'd like to ask? Raise your hand and we'll call on you. If not, we have a few prepared questions, and I will say they were clearly done before the floods. So maybe not quite as pertinent, but for Nancy, what effect has the parking meter situation in Larchmont had on your local businesses, if any?
Okay. So that obviously the timing of that and the rollout of it was problematic. And I think there's still issues with it. Local residents are really angry about it. A lot of the stores are very angry, mostly because we've never had a place for our employees to park. And that's really been the biggest issue. Everyone everywhere complains about parking, but, I mean, I've never had a problem parking, when I've done my errands. My husband's never had a problem. I mean, you might have to walk half a block, but, come on. So I think that there are still issues with it. Some of the stores keep a bunch of quarters and they'll run out and feed the meter for the person. Having the meters, having it not be like right there, like the Maronecks are, is a problem for our older clients. And so that's something that I think has impacted a lot of the businesses. But again, they're trying to work with those clients directly. I mean, we're a small community, but it is a problem. And I noticed when it was first instituted, there was nobody parking on the street because everyone was mad about it. And, so a lot of people are parking in the side streets, and that's fine. And the village made available to businesses, very discounted parking meters. So, I bought a few of them. for my employees. Some of the businesses didn't want to do that. It's still limited parking. And, so it is, I think it's still a work in progress. I mean, I think it's unfortunate they decided to do it. I hope that it brings in the money that they need to really to beautify our downtown, because I think our downtown needs it. I don't think it's that pretty. And that's supposed to be the intention. I'm like, parking lots look gross. So I think if that happens, people will be maybe a little bit more, they'll be happier about it if they see something happening with the money. But right now, I think it's just people are getting used to it, like anything.
Okay. Next question for both of you. What effect has outdoor dining had for the restaurants and also the retail merchants in each community? Because I think there are different, if we've understood there may be different effects.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll just say that it's a lifesaver for the restaurants, obviously. To this day, you still see outside packed, and then, obviously inside is not as busy as you would like to see. I think really it comes down to the quality of the restaurant. There are some restaurants that obviously haven't done so well, even with the outdoor dining. So, that's obviously something that each business owner has to deal with. But I think obviously it was a lifeline to those that have the ability to bring more people in. One in particular in our town is the Tailgate Grill. Justin, who's on my board of directors, has gotten a lot more tables because of the outdoor parking. Has not only saved his business, but helped it prosper. So I think the outdoor dining for restaurants has done very well. There was some complaints from the other merchants saying there's not enough parking with all this outdoor dining, and it's taking away from their ability to bring in clients. And the village decided this year to actually limit how many outdoor dining spots there were, which I thought was a good idea. It was a good compromise between, making sure there was enough parking spots. And my comment on that is that if you don't have the restaurants and have the ability to put people in there, then somebody's going somewhere else. So, yes, we'll always have people coming and shopping at the toy store and everywhere else. But at the same point in time, you'll get more people going shopping if there's a robust restaurant, because they're the draw to the village, at least for us here in Mamaroneck.
Yeah, similar thing. I mean, the restaurants, this was a lifeline to them. And I think that, and I've gotten complaints from the businesses about the parking, that it's taking up all this parking, and it was okay in the beginning, but now it's getting ridiculous and my clients can't park and blah, 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 blah. But again, just like you said, we believe the restaurants bring in business. I know for myself, people will call me and say, oh, I had lunch at Stan's and I was taking a walk and I saw your store, and, so they may not buy right that minute, but they're going to buy. And so I think that it's been net a positive. And I actually did a thing, especially with the parking meters. Lorraine said, we have 1,000 parking spaces, right in the immediate downtown areas, and 41 of them are being taken up by the restaurants. So it's like, okay, guys, calm down. So that, and then the other thing you were talking about, the fees for the restaurants. I know the first year we didn't charge any, the village didn't charge anything. I think this year it's a very nominal fee. I mean, it's even less than what you guys are charging,
right?
But
Yeah.
very, very nominal, again, because these restaurants really can't afford anything extra. Their margins are even tighter than a flower shop. So.
Yep.
Okay, next question. What are each of your chambers doing to attract new businesses into our communities?
That's a great question. Currently, we haven't been able to, the good news is that we have very little empty stores. I think there's 2 or 3 stores on Mamaroneck Avenue that are currently empty. So we haven't been able to do much, only because I think it's just lack of, lack of help to actually go out there. So one of the things that I'm looking to do as the president for next year is bring on board members that have the ability, maybe a realtor, somebody who knows, obviously how to bring in bigger businesses. So that is something that I'm looking into, but we haven't been able to do anything for that.
Yeah, I mean, we really, that's something that we talk to the village about all the time, but we don't know who is,
Right.
who's looking at space and who isn't, and so forth. It's really something that all we think we can do is really have a robust chamber, because they can see that there's a robust chamber and they're going to have support and advocacy, as Richard said. We have, I think, a lot more empty storefronts just because of construction and various things that have been going on, and we have issues, as I'm sure Mamaroneck does, with certain landlords. I mean, some of the businesses went under because of the landlords. They were just very unreasonable and not willing to work with their tenants through this difficult time. And I think we always have, that's something that we just, I mean, what can you do about that? You just, so it's just, it's like, you just try to do the best you can, but it's their loss. They have a whole stretch of empty stores, So anyway, but yeah, we don't do anything really with that except just be here.
Okay. How can the chambers better interact with the residents of our communities?
I'd like to take that first, just because it's something that's kind of like my pet project. So one of the things that we already have amazing social media. We have a Facebook page that has almost 10,000 followers. Our Instagram page, I think, has almost 5,000 followers. I mean, it's really robust. And the reason it's robust is because it was really originally started by some of the local residents. And we do try to partner. I have people on my board who don't have businesses, but are just willing to volunteer. And I will go to residents and say, okay, we need your help, doing this or doing that when we're trying to put an event on. And we've been fortunate to get some people to be part of that, because again, just as Richard said, if you're running a business, you just don't have time. We're trying to do things for the various restaurants and we're never able to get it off the ground because we really need their help, and and they don't have time to help us. So, but the other thing that I really want to do is, when we did this new website, I want to build an email list. We have residents, we have businesses. We don't just have merchants in town. We also have service businesses. We have at-home-based businesses. We have real estate agents. They're not allowed to post on Love Larchmont because otherwise the feed would be filled with houses for sale. So we want to be able to do things for people like Richard, who has a financial services business. So what I want to do is and it's like our next phase is to create a robust email list of residents that we can then communicate monthly with a newsletter where we highlight, members in a certain category. So if you're looking for financial services, here are the members who offer that, and here, they write up a little blurb about why you should call them, and that's something that I have a board member who has said she would take that on, but it hasn't happened yet. But that's one of the things that I really want to do. But the other thing is just having this, and then the other group we have a group called One Larchmont. And Richard, you may want to think about this, and I can give you some ideas of people to contact if you don't know, in Mamaroneck, to do something similar. They were started as a way they wanted to raise money to improve the streetscape, specifically like the awnings and the signage for the town, for the different businesses. And then COVID hit, and they raised over $100,000 like that, and they gave it as grants to businesses. And I know certain businesses, that just made the difference between them staying in business and not staying in business. Yep. And that was amazing. And so they've been a great partner with us. We try to work with them. It's all local residents. We try to work with them on various ideas. We were going to do this whole Oktoberfest with them, but then we couldn't get it off, but hopefully next year we'll do it. But they've been a great partner in terms of helping us help the businesses.
Right. Yeah, so I think Mamaroneck, we have right now, I think 1,423 email addresses that we currently send our notifications out to on MailChimp. We have 1,583 people who follow us on, who like our Facebook page and 1,844 people who follow us. So we do, our Facebook page is very active and we update it daily. We also just started our Instagram, so we're a little behind you guys in Larchmont with our Instagram. And that had a lot to do with the president not knowing what Instagram even was until just recently. Thankfully, again, my wife brought us back into the 21st century and is helping with that. But I think ultimately, yes, we would love to have a One Larchmont here in Mamaroneck. But, obviously we do on Facebook, we have the Mamaroneck Larchmont Mom and Dad's groups, and we have that group has been nothing but spectacular. If you go on there, I mean, organizing food drives for this flood. I mean, they've done everything with that group. So I'm proud to say that we do have a lot of participation, and they're kind of taking it on their own. And in all honesty, with my job and everything else, I was kind of relieved that people started stepping up. Yeah. Because it's just hard. I mean, you want to help everyone, you want to do everything you can, but you just need more participation. And I think those mom and dad groups and Facebook have really brought to light the good in people, to see everybody and what they're doing and reaching out and providing what they can. It's just been nothing but a miracle here. So, but yeah, of course, we would love to have a One Larchmont. We just, we can't obviously do that as the chamber. That would have to be something to be, maybe I will talk to you, Nancy, about how we can.
I have a thought of a couple people I know in Mamaroneck that might be,
that
could be the kind of people that would spearhead something like that. Yeah.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Laura, it looks like we have a question from the Q&A.
We do. So it's from Susan Goldberger, and this is for both chambers. What is the status of the movie theater revitalizations? Great question.
Yeah. Okay. So I actually asked Lorraine about this yesterday. The one in Larchmont. I think that they have all their permits, and we've just been waiting to start construction. We haven't heard anything from them recently. Lorraine told me that, Michael Cohen, is it Michael Cohen? I keep forgetting if it's whatever his name is. His family, they're real estate developers, and then his passion is movies. And so he started this business with these independent movie theater, dinner movie theaters. And of course, the commercial real estate industry has been very, very hard hit. So we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if he's going to continue with that or not. So we'll have to wait and see.
Susan, thank you for the question. All I keep hearing is the word delay, delay, delay. The movie theater on Mamaroneck Avenue was supposed to be opened up by, I think, this summer. And there's just been permit issues. There have been, obviously the lack of being able to get the products that they need or the supplies that they need. I don't have an update, unfortunately, as to when they're now projecting it to be open. Just the fact that they've been delayed. So I will follow up with everybody, and I'll send an email to Peggy or Laura to get that information over to you. Okay.
Thank you. Or you could post it on your website.
Yes, that's true. Okay. Or on our Facebook.
Exactly.
There you go.
Laura, there's another one.
Yes, we have another question from Jagadish Rayo. Why don't Larchmont and Mamaroneck have one stronger and more robust chamber? Integrate the two different efforts. Great question.
Yeah.
I'll take that on because I've thought of the same thing at times. I think that, one of the challenges we have as a Larchmont chamber is that we have two downtowns, and it's always really hard to juggle that. And I can't imagine, I think that, the needs of Larchmont are different from the needs of Mamaroneck. I mean, they're it would be three physically different locations. I think that it'd be great for us to work together on certain things.
Yep.
And we should probably talk about that, Richard. There might be, some ways that we can work together on certain kinds of events or promotions. But I think in terms of, being able to actually do events or things together or have one chamber, it's two separate villages. It's two separate business governments. I think it just makes sense to have a separate chamber for each village.
Yeah, so what I would say is similar to what Nancy said, a lot of what we do when we have events like the Taste of Mamaroneck, Halloween Spectacular, we actually have to get approved for it. The villages have to actually allow us to do these things. There's extra police that are needed. There's extra, safety measurements that have to go into place. So it is difficult to kind of do these things. Obviously, we have the joint town, right? The town of Mamaroneck, that we can go to them, but still, if it's within the village, we need to have permission from the villages. The other thing I will tell you, I think the reason why it hasn't happened is I'm just going to my website here. The Mamaroneck Chamber of Commerce was established in 1917. And if you go on our website, it was known as the Business Men's Association of Mamaroneck, right? I will tell you, there are more women in the Chamber of Commerce than there are men. So I think, yes, do we need to update our bylaws from 1917? Most likely. As a matter of fact, emphatically, yes. And I think the chamber is, one of the things that we're trying to do is we're trying to catch up with technology. We're trying to catch up on the things that we can actually do pretty easy. And those things must come at a later time where potentially, working with each other will definitely help with, promoting this area.
Right. Richard, yeah, you and I should probably talk after this, because there's some certain things I think we could work together on and help each other with. And help our local businesses with.
And that's why today's event, this is just wonderful. And, it takes what's the word I'm looking for? I'm at a loss for words, but it takes events to happen to bring this all together, and it's a work in progress. Every day is a work in progress.
By the way, Richard, we just redid our bylaws, so you might want to take a look at them.
Yeah, I would love to, actually.
Okay. It's on our website. So.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Nancy, I got a quick text from a friend who said it's Charles Cohen.
Oh, thank you. I couldn't remember. I think I did the same thing yesterday. Yes, I.
Not a problem. Okay, a couple more questions. Elaine, are we doing okay on time?
We just have a few minutes, so I think we really better start wrapping up.
Okay. In that case, I want to thank LMC Media for hosting our event. I want to thank everyone in the summit for their support. I want to thank Laura Leva for helping put this together. She was extraordinary. And I want to thank Nancy and Richard for joining us. I think it was illuminating, because I don't think many people knew how this all worked. And it's great to have you around and what you do for our communities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to
thank all of you for, if without you, we wouldn't have the businesses here and the vibrancy that we have here. So I know we appreciate all of that.
And I think we should take this opportunity to obviously invite each other to more meetings, collaborate a little bit more, because to be perfectly honest with you, as of before this email, I'm like, who is the Larchmont American Local Summit?
I used to be
I've
on
only
the
lived in
board
Mamaroneck
actually
for 5 years,
ago.
so I'm sorry, Nancy.
I used to be on the board of it years ago.
Oh, okay. I'm new to Mamaroneck. I've only been here for 7 years now, so
Okay.
yeah. Forgive me for my ignorance.
We will add you
Thank
now
you.
to our list, Richard.
Right.
And we probably should send out, I don't know about you, I could do something to send out your notices to our memberships also, just in case anybody's interested in participating in any of your meetings. Because I know some people are. That's why we moved our meetings to Wednesday.
Yeah, so that's what we struggle with, because we say the Chamber of Commerce has benefits and value, and that's why you would want to join. And so when we put our board together, we had said unless you're an invited guest, it's only for members, our meetings. But then we have networking events that anybody can come to. And we've had some feedback on that. And, after talking with the board and everything else, we decided to keep it, a closed meetings. Unless, somebody and you ask to come to the meeting, we'll be happy to let you come, and hear what we have to say, but it would have to be as an invitation. And that's kind of where we are at this point in time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we sort of feel like it's $60 to be a member. If you can't swing that or don't see the value in that, you're not really, you're not really going to be part of the team. So,
Correct. Yeah.
Just so you'll know, you both might want to send out to your membership that this program will be available on LMC Media to be streamed so they can see it at any time.
Great.
okay.
Awesome.
All right, great.
I too want to thank everybody, our speakers, our organizers, Peggy, Laura, and of course the speakers once again, Richard and Nancy, for participating today. And thank all of you who are attending this meeting. I want to remind you that our next meeting is on October 12th, and we hope to see all of you there again. Thank you again for coming this morning. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Elaine.